Hey everybody, Rosematter here. Welcome to part 15 of my Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works Let's Play. So, whole lot happened in the last episode. It was a really good one. Tosaka has been kidnapped by Archer as a hostage to get Shiro to fight him at Ilya's castle. So Shiro and Saber make their way there and they meet up with Lancer, who has agreed to help them out to save Tosaka. He seems to have some sort of like... Really, he has taken a liking to Tosaka, so he's helping out as well. And while at the castle, so Shiro, Archer, they have their showdown, and Archer has the big reveal about who he actually is. It's been hinted at quite strongly, but he is the future version of Shiro, who his ideals got corrupted about being a superhero. He went just through cycles of being heroic spirit and having to clean up the messes of humans, and his ideals have become twisted, and he sees Shiro as basically like the version of himself that he needs to kill to relieve himself of this cycle. And that's why he's hated Shiro from the beginning and why they have been so alike. So while all that was going on, we also got like a creepy side story with Shinji showing up to violate Tosaka, and Archer basically was like, you know what, you can do what you want after with her, once I do what I need to do. So Shinji tried to do some stuff with Tosaka. Kyrie showed up also. He was not dead. Surprise, but not really. He wants to use Tosaka as the vessel. Then he ended up getting killed by Lancer, and then Lancer ended up sending Shinji running and crying, and basically, like, with his dying breath, managed to save Tosaka from Shinji and Kyrie, and set a fire and freed her, so she's off and probably running to go find Shiro. So a whole lot happened in this episode, and we continue with the fight between Archer and Shiro to see who's going to come out on top. Super excited to see how this is going to turn out, so let's get right back into it. Alright, we're getting right into the fight here. The same swords, the same techniques clash. My attack and his attack are the same, but still the blades chip away and my body's wounded the more we fight. The attack that I blocked breaks through. Konsho in my left hand is destroyed by his Konsho, and his weapon sweeps at me from the side. I twist my body to dodge it, but it still slashes me. Although not immediately fatal, the wound will eventually overcome me. I bear the pain by cursing and swing Bakia, the close enemy. It's blocked and destroyed as well. We have the same swords and same techniques, but there's a gap I cannot fill.
お前の感想と俺の感想が同等とでも思ったか？お前はまだまだ基本骨子の想定が甘い。いかにイメージ通りの外見材質を保とうが、構造に利がなければ崩れるのは当然だ。イメージといえど、筋が通ってなければ瓦解する。
My temple and my side. He attacks both my vital spots at once. I immediately project the twin swords and parry the attacks. My head hurts to the point of blurring my sight. It's not because of the strain of immediate projection. This is that headache, the instinct I felt when I was searching for Tosaka, the slight fever I got every time I faced him. That strain now threatens to drive me mad. I parry his attacks. I step in and slash at his body. A red headache burns my eyes every time I do so. Is it because of the contradiction that Emiya Shiro and heroic spirit Emiya are existing at the same time? Ever since we recognized each other's identities, my body breaks every time we touch each other. I traced his sword technique and even his reproduction ability. It's natural for them to suit me. His abilities are Emiya Shiro's optimal technique, perfected over many years of training. There's no way it would not suit me. In trying to match his skill, I allowed myself to learn too much about my future self. Actually, let me just check something. I'm wondering. Didn't say anything about like the status update happening, but there we go. True name, Emiya. I must have missed that when it updated. This is Emi Ashiro, who became a hero through a miracle, a blacksmith hero who can use reality marble without penalty to forge numerous weapons. Other details are unknown. Alright. My eyeballs go numb. Every time I swing the sword, every time the sparks fly out, I'm attacked with a flash so strong it could blind me. I'm no match for him, and my vision fills with red every time we exchange blows. If that's the worst of it, I don't care. My body's already torn apart. My headache is nothing compared to the burning wound in my stomach. The problem is that the headache won't stop because there's something I'm still drawing out from him.
都合5本目だな。投影による複製ではそろそろ限界か。お前の魔力量はよくわかっている。そのざまでは残り3本。わざわざあれを見せてやったというのに、未だそんな勘違いをしているとはな。
His scornful voice contained some disappointment. Misunderstand? I don't care about that. More than anything, I have to do something about this headache right now. The thing flowing from you.
ともあれ、至ったところで不可能ではあるか。今のエミヤシロウが生成できる魔力では足りない。
I wonder if now that Rin is free, she's gonna come to the battle and maybe help me out to fight against her former servant.
そう。どちらにせよ。
And if Rin is Saber's master, she could technically use her command spell to override Saber, saying she wasn't going to interfere in the fight. My headache gets worse, but I feel like I don't know if Rin would respect Shiro's wish to like fight him one-on-one. I feel like she would want to try and protect him no matter what. He raises his twin swords to finish the match. I feel like Rin's gonna jump in right now to help out. He swings them down in a cross. The swords I blocked them with are destroyed. My body becomes numb as if a hammer's been smashed on it, and the headache finally sears my brain, as well as my eyes. It's flowing into me. So, this is scarier than the pain. It's like, what, his memory? Yep, this is his memory. The reason he changed so much. I can see bits and pieces of what will happen to Emi Ashiro in the future. I don't know if it was correct or not. Nobody will be able to determine that. The beautiful things were ugly, and the ugly things were beautiful. There's nothing disgusting once you look at it objectively. So why is there such a deviation? Sophistry, falsehood, trickery, vanity. Those are what he saw the most.
I am the bone of my soul.
But still, it seems he did not care. There was an ideal and an oath he had to protect. He did not care what he lost to do so. Even when he was betrayed, he believed there would be a next time if he did not betray himself. He did not show grief or pain.
Steel is my body, and fire is my blood.
He's like a cold-blooded machine to others. He was a convenient existence, so he was conveniently used. He was only a tool in other people's eyes. But the machine had an ideal it wanted to protect, so it accepted its role as a convenient tool.
I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, unknown to life.
It's not something to go around proclaiming. The more he kills and the more he's unable to save, the less he can talk about his ideal. The only thing left for him is to obstinately protect his ideal until the very end. And the result? The ideal Emi Ashiro dreamed of has never been accomplished. And he found out it's just nonsense dreamed by a fool who is only a nuisance to others.
Hell withstood pain to create many weapons.
See, this is his end. See, this is your end. My mind gives in. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. But my mind almost gives in, thinking that I will be following this exact path.
Yet those hands will never hold anything.
What you believed in, what you believe in, you're shown that it's just a fantasy that is covered with lies, and still... His weapon closes in. A horn-like sword comes to pierce my heart. I get away. I have in my hands the twin swords I quickly projected. I forced down my nausea. What was I seeing? Forget it. Forget what you just saw. You need to defeat him. You should focus everything on that goal.
計算違いか。前世の自分を高齢、憑依させることで、かつての技術を習得する魔術があると聞くが、俺と打ち合うたびに、お前の技術は鍛えられていくようだな。
My shoulders heaving, I prepare myself for his attack.
となると、引き出したものは投影技術だけではあるまい。その顔、今にも吐きそうな最低の面構えからすると。
My breathing stops. Don't let me say it. Don't let me recall it. If you say what I just saw,
ならば話は早い。それは全て事実だ。エミヤしろ。
His red cloak moves. He closes in on me in an instant and thrusts the horned sword. It's destroyed in one blow. There's no way a hastily constructed sword and a first attempt at that would match his sword. But, even though I'm empty-handed, he throws away his sword. He projects Durandal, the renowned sword of the king. I skip about 4 steps and quickly reproduce his weapon, but of course such an imitation is destroyed in one blow. So that's 2, or is that 3 projections he's done? He said, what, you've got maybe 3 more you can do? I fall. I'm repelled and I land with my back on the rubble. Uh-oh, did he like stab himself on like some rubble? That surprises me. The rubble turns red just by having me fall on top of it. Oh, I already know, but it seems my body is almost dead, inside and out.
そこまでだ。叶わないと知ってなおここに現れる愚かさ。生涯くだらぬ理想にとらわれ、自らの意志を持たなかったまがいもの。それが自身の正体だと理解したか。
His voice echoes. My body's covered with wounds. It's bad how the wounds are so deep that I can reach inside them and take out my bones. Ugh.
そんなものに生きている価値はない。
Come on, Rin, please help.
何よりこの俺が確信しているのだ。エミヤシロという男の人生に価値
This
など
must
ない。
be very tough for Saber to just have to stand and watch and not interfere.
ただ救いたいから救うなど、そもそも感情として間違えている。人間として故障したお前は、初めからあってはならない偽物だった。
My magical energy is almost depleted. Not only that, the magic circuit to run the magical energy is burnt up. No, if I talk about it burning up, it burned up yesterday when I used projection. It's just that an almost broken thing completely broke. But my body's telling me I can still fight. Of course it can, of course he does. My mind bluffs itself, saying it has not given in. Then, I have to get up and defeat him.
無駄なことを。俺はお前の理想だ。叶うはずなどないと、今ので理解できたはずだが。
I focus the last of my will on the magic circuit. My split nerves scream, but I carefully put together the 8 steps.
Dress off.
I project his twin swords. Konsho and Bakia, 2 great swords named after an ancient swordsmith. I swing them. I keep attacking until my remaining energy runs out. My twin swords are met by twin swords. Archer now holds Konsho and Bakia and parries my attacks without retreating.
そうか。認めるわけにはいかないのは同意だな。俺がお前の理想である限り、エミヤシロウは誰よりも俺を否定しなければならない。
His calm tone pisses me off. I can't even breathe, but he's calm and composed. I attack with all my energy. He does not parry my attacks, but pushes them back. I'm pushed back along with my twin swords. The difference in our powers is obvious. There's no way for me to win with pure strength.
では聞くがな、シロ。お前は本当に正義の味方になりたいと思っているのか？
For an instant, my mind blanks out from the surprise attack.
何を今さら俺はなりたいんじゃなくて絶対になるんだよ。
I glare back at him. Then,
そう。絶対にならなければならない。なぜならそれはエミやシローにとってただ一つの感情だからだ。逆らうことも否定することもできない感情。たとえそれが自身の内から現れたものでないとしても。
he stops me with words that grab my heart. Not born from within me. I deny them even before I think about what those words mean. What does he mean by that? Like it was kind of imparted on him, like it was thrust on him by Kiritsugu? Like, you know, he's carrying someone else's wish? I feel like it's more than that. I can't let him finish. I can't realize that fact. If I find out, Emiyashiro's foundation will crumble.
その様子ではうすうす感づいてはいたようだな。いや、初めから気づいていて、それを必死に遠ざけていただけだったのか。今の俺では思い出すことさえできないが。
I start to say before I stop myself. I don't want to know. I know that I shouldn't know. But still, I know that I must know. The contradiction of Emiyashiro. The answer to what is wrong with me and how I'm distorted.
俺にはもはやお前の記憶などない。だが、それでもあの光景だけは覚えている。一面の炎と充満した死の匂い。絶望の中で助けを乞い、叶えられた時の感情。エミやキリツグという男の俺を助け出した時に見せた安堵の顔を。
I realized it's natural to die, and my mind emptied out. I was saved at that time. The man who saved me smiled with tears in his eyes. That is what I thought was beautiful.
そうだ。お前はただ一人助けられたことで、助けられなかった人々に後ろめたさを感じていたわけじゃない。ただ、エミやキリツグに憧れただけだ。あの男のお前を助けた顔があまりにも幸せそうだったから。
Oh, is that it? That's what they're getting at is like, I'm basically just trying to live up to him and want to be a hero, even though Carrie told me that it's impossible, you can't do that. But then he also said when he was young, he said he wanted to be a superhero. That's right. It's not me that got saved at that time. It's an assumption I did not even think about. If that fire was Kiritsugu's fault, he shouldn't have been able to bear that fact. A tragedy without any survivors. Kiritsugu, the one who caused it, must have frantically searched for a survivor. And he finally found one that should not have existed. The man found a surviving child that could not be saved. If you talk about miracles, it is... But I knew about that already. I don't care about his circumstances. It was enough for me that he got me out of that hell. Even if it may have been for himself, it's true he tried to save me and wished for my survival. That's enough. Emiya Kiritsugu saved a boy who had nothing. So...
そう。子が親に憧れるのは当然だ。だが、お前はそれが行き過ぎた。エミやキリツグがなりたかったものに憧れるだけならよかった。だが、最後に奴はお前に呪いを残した。言うまでもないだろう。それがお前の全てだと言ってもいい。
Yeah, was Kiritsugu, was he the one who said, like... Was he the one who said straight... I can't remember if he said straight up, like, will you continue my wish for me? Or did, like, Shiro was the one who said himself, like, I will take that on for you, and I will, like, fulfill your wish of being a superhero.
じいさんの夢は俺。
That is the answer. Hearing my casual remark, he left the words, I'm relieved, behind him. And then that man who was emptier ever than me, or even than, who was emptier even than me, died. At that moment, Emiyashiro had to become a superhero. My will does not matter. For his sake, I simply tried to become what he'd admired since he was small. The wish for everyone to be happy is an impossibility dreamed not by me, but by Emiya Kiritsugu.
気づいているのだろう。シロ、お前の理想はただの借り物だ。エミヤ・キリツグという男がなりたかったもの、エミヤ・キリツグが正しいと信じたものを真似ているだけに過ぎない。それは。
I grit my teeth, desperately trying to resist my mind that's about to give in, but...
正義の味方だと笑わせるな。誰かのためになるとそう繰り返し続けたお前の思いは決して自ら生み出されたものではない。そんな男が他人の助けになるなどと思い上がりも甚だしい。
He attacks with his swords. With the weight of his contempt behind them, the twin swords are swung more strongly than ever before. Seeing those raging swords, I accept my own death just as I did 10 years ago. The force comes smashing down. There's no elegance in these attacks, and they're executed only using his strength. My left arm shakes from blocking the attack. My fingers that held onto the sword break. The sword I made using all my remaining powers bent back by one blow. I'm dead. I'm on the verge of death from the first blow, so there's no way I'll be able to block the next attack. But still, my mind is about to give in, but my body denies it with all its might. It's telling me I'm wrong. It appeals to me, saying it's wrong to give in to his words and to die here. I raise my head. My eyes aren't functioning. They don't see the enemy, but show his memories. In them, I see myself curling up and desperately trying to live. The echoing of the swords isn't all I hear. He curses himself every time he attacks.
そうだ。誰かを助けたいという願いが綺麗だったから憧れた。
I block the oncoming attack. Bakia is destroyed. All I have left is Konsho in my left hand.
故に自身からこぼれ落ちた気持ちなどない。これを偽善と言わず何という。
Konsho's bent and its existence is fading. My heart's hurting, not because of his attacks. His words slash at my heart.
この身は誰かのためにならなければならないと脅迫観念に突き動かされてきた。それが苦痛だと思うことも破綻していると気づく間もなく、ただ。
He keeps on denying himself. My heart tries to give up every time I hear him. My body wants to succumb to the force of his attacks. But still, that same body keeps desperately denying him.
だが、所詮は偽物だ。そんな偽善では何も救えない。いいな。もとより何を救うべきかも定まらない。
I'm smashed away. An attack as strong as one of Berserker's easily flings away Emiyashiro's body. But I still hold my ground. I frantically endure the attack coming down at me. I will not be able to get back up if I fall down, so my body refuses to let me fall. I thrust the rapidly fading Konsho into the ground and lean on it. My body sags forward and I can't even stand upright. I use Konsho as a cane and hold up my falling body with my arms. I must look pitiful. I might look as if I'm kneeling down and begging him.
その理想は破綻している。自身より他人が大切だという考え、誰もが幸福であってほしい願いなど空想のおとぎ話だ。そんな夢を抱いてしか生きられないのであれば、抱いたまま溺死しろ。
He says that. There's no value in living, no, in my life itself. My weapon is about to disappear, and there's little point in trying to keep my body from falling. In contrast, he isn't even scratched. The match is decided. No, the match has been decided from the start. Emiya's not gonna die right now. Every time this happens, something comes in and, like, saves Shiro or Rin or, you know, whoever. Maybe it's Rin coming in, maybe something's gonna happen, but I refuse to believe that he's gonna die right now. That'd be pretty wild if Emiya actually was killed. There is no way for Emiya Shiro to beat heroic spirit Emiya. I mean, maybe this is the final bad ends. Like, maybe if I didn't get enough Rin points or something, this would be it. Like, I would die here. But maybe because hopefully I have enough. I assume I picked all the correct answers. That maybe she'll save me. But that is a mistake. If the difference in our powers was large, the fight wouldn't have turned out like this. It's my mind that lost. My mind was weak because I realized that I am wrong and that he's right. That was my only failure. Because...
何?
Because my body's been telling me I will not lose to you. Why? Why did power enter my body every time he cursed my ideal as fake?
ふざけんな感謝
Oh, I guess just of his own abilities right now. Just through pure stubbornness and rage, he's gonna somehow come back. I'll reach it. I'll definitely reach it. If parts of me are broken, then I just need to use the parts that aren't. If everything I have is broken, then use the parts I don't have. If my body hasn't lost yet, I can reach out to the part of me that hasn't been used yet. A headache. An instant of a few milliseconds. I see him, probably for the last time. I could not understand him, but I guess I can use his pain as a lesson. A hero who used a poem about himself as his spell. Even if I don't understand the meaning behind it, is he going to repeat the whole thing like, I am the bone of my sword? I will accept those words in your place. There he is. He's gonna say it. I start the spell so that I can be proud of myself. Emiya's words hurt Emiya. He accepted that fact and chose to kill me. That is the only thing he could wish for in the end. Then, just as you deny me, I will defeat you with all my powers.
体は剣でできている
I murmur the words without realizing it. I raise my head. I pour determination into my dying body. I swallow the blood clotting in my throat. Yang's sword Konsho regains its image.
貴様まだ
そうだこんなのが夢だなんてそんなこと
This is just a dream, but I kept on believing in it because I thought it was right. Kiritsugu pursued it because he knew it was an unattainable dream, an impossible ideal. Even if it may be unattainable, he believed he would reach his destination if he kept running.
そうか彼女の鞘
Ah,
契約が切れたところで
Saber.
その守護は続いている
Saber is gonna help me out. I ready my sword. I don't care about that.
お前には負けない誰かに負けるのはいい
That's right. The thing that Kiritsugu gave to me by, putting the sheath in me.
けど自分には負けられない
I will keep on being Emiya Shiro. It's an unbelievable technique. His attacking body is on the verge of death. His fingers are broken, his limbs are slashed, and his breathing is stopped without him even realizing it. His speed is nothing, and his attack is mediocre. The boy that has absorbed his combat skills to the point where he's able to fight decently has now returned to fighting without them. An unscaled, frantic attack, but still, this blow is heavier than any that came before. Archer's indifference turns into surprise within a second. The swinging swords are crazy. They clash against his longsword with unimaginable speed. Where is his power coming from? The attacks are unlike before. He cannot go into defense. This attack should cut through the boy's neck. Realizing he cannot make light of the boy, he swings his sword. Up and down, left and right. Then the four attacks are enough to cut off his limbs and to cut up his body to pieces. The boy blocks them. No, exceeding his 4 attacks. The sword comes to slash his neck. Bringing back the longsword, he parries the attack. He intuitively understood he'd be killed unless he attacks. The longsword attacks the enemy that is on the verge of death, and the boy frantically swings his sword. Their swords crash and balance. The space is filled with sparks, and anything entering the space should be cut to pieces. But it should be the last spark that a dying man gives off. The boy loses his breath every time he attacks, almost falls, holds his ground, and attacks again. The sight reassures him. There is no power left in his enemy. The boy in front of him is literally on the verge of death. How many times has he been on the verge of death? That means nothing to him. So why do those arms have seemingly infinite power? I have no consciousness. I can neither tell what the enemy's doing, nor if my attacks are doing anything. My muscles are screaming for oxygen, and the lack of blood keeps ordering my body to stop. I suppress them altogether by force. That's all that's filling my head. My ideal is fake. He's right. I can't be a superhero. As long as I admire such a thing, I will end up like the man before me. But I felt beauty in it. I know it's just hypocrisy to value everyone else over yourself. But still, I admired it, thinking how great it would be if I could live that way. That's the only thing driving my dying body. He cannot hear what his enemy is saying. His enemy's voice is weak, yet his attacks are relentless. Looking, the boy's hands are one with the sword's hilt. It must be to keep the sword in place, but that will transfer the impact directly to his body. The boy's covered in blood, and he'll fall forward and die if he retreats. Even swinging the sword should come with great pain. He blocks it in annoyance. His dying enemy gets on his nerves, but he himself gets on his nerves because even though he knows it will end once he retreats, he is not able to do so. But how can he retreat? Straightforward attacks without strategy. If it's a shame to turn his back to such attacks, it is also a disgrace not to block them. His enemy will self-destruct once he retreats, but he has the presentiment that he will lose something important if he does so. The worries will end soon. His enemy is at his limits. He'll fall after 2 more blows, or 3 at most. He clucks his tongue at the stupid thought. He previously thought his enemy would last 2 more blows, but he has received over 10 blows since then. Yeah, what we've learned here is do not underestimate Shiro. The boy will not fall. He cannot hear the boy's voice. The dying boy frantically opposes the obstacle in front of him. That figure. He stares at the figure with his own eyes for the first time. I keep swinging the sword with arms that are about to tear off. I like that you see the point of view of both of them during the fight. The only thing I have left is this one thing I'm saying with all my might. My barrage of strikes are compensation for that scream. There were people that could not save others, and there was me who could not save them. I swore to myself never to let such a thing happen again, seeing the memories that meaninglessly disappeared. How long has it been since then? There were things I lost, and there were things I dropped. There are always things that will be forgotten. So I swore to myself never to forget this one fact. To become a superhero, I will protect it even if it isn't my wish, or even if it's just sophistry to soften my guilt. It has to come true. The person who saved me died, leaving those words behind. I believe in the wish contained in those words. Even if everyone in this world disagrees with me, even if I myself curse me, And so, he realizes the attacks will not end. His enemy will not stop. He will not stop from his own will. The boy's attacking with all his might, but he's not looking at his opponent. The thing the boy is trying to defeat is his obstacle, his own self that is hindering himself. He's swinging his sword to enforce what he's believed in, what he will keep on believing in. Realizing that, the man grits his teeth in annoyance. The boy keeps challenging it, knowing he won't win and that there's no meaning to it. That is the exact mistake he has detested. So why? Why does he want to see how long the boy can continue?
そこまでだ。消えろ!
He raises his longsword. His enemy's attacks are something he has to take seriously. He repels the attacks and crushes his enemy's skull for sure. A clanging sound. The fatal attack is easily deflected. The one who could not block his attacks until now repels a swing made with all his might. He gasps. He sees his enemy repel his sword and gets back into stance. The boy's eyes are looking straight at... The impact causes one of my arms and legs to break. My sense of pain hasn't been numbed. I use my fury to clamp down the pain that almost makes me wet my pants. I don't have enough water. I can't release excess things. The left side of the enemy's chest is open. Since half my body's broken, this will be my final blow. But such thoughts do not fill my head. The only thing in my head is... Damn, I love it. I love it. Just a quick back and forth between like what Archer's thinking, what Shiro's thinking. He pulls back his long sword to protect his open left side. He'll make it. He will easily make it. This is my final blow. That's the only thing in my head. Even if Emiya Shiro is a fake, this is absolutely true. For everyone to be happy. That is an ideal everyone thinks of. So I won't back down, because this dream is... the unwavering gaze, faults and lies, shaking off everything, running without stopping. Those words are driven into his chest. An attack made at full strength, defense that should have been fast enough. The cogwheels never got into gear, and the battle is decided quickly. Whoa! He did it! Holy shit! He defeated himself. He hears the sound of the blade piercing him. The one surprised is the knight in red. His enemy attacked with determination to defeat him. Then it's natural for his attack to do so. The boy does not need to be surprised, nor does he have anything to spare to be surprised. That's why the knight is the only one that is surprised. It's a great wonder how he could not block an attack he could have easily blocked. Maybe like deep down, he wanted Shiro to win. Maybe he got through to him. I support myself with my unbroken right leg. Sword in my hand has pierced Archer's chest. Was she watching all this time from that place? Still standing at the entrance. Saber questions Archer. Is she gonna be like, why didn't you block? Archer does not answer. He might not need to answer. Or maybe he doesn't know the answer. My fingers throb. My broken fingers scream at me they do not want me to hold the sword anymore. The knight in red does not move. Even with a blade in his chest, a servant should be able to easily counterattack. But his hands are lowered and show no sign of moving. I know without being told what that means. I make the declaration while looking at him. The knight in red closes his eyes once, and... he murmurs while looking off into the distance, as if to convince himself. I pull out the sword. The projected weapon disperses as soon as it touches outside air. And then, man, that's gonna be quite the come down. He was just going off pure adrenaline. As soon as that happens, this always happens where he's so in his head when he's fighting, and as soon as he's done, he's just like, oh shit, I'm like pretty much dead on my feet. The tension floods out of me, and I finally take notice of my condition. It's terrible. The slashed wounds are healing, but lots of places are turning dark red. Archer said something about Saber's sheath, but what is that power putting priority on? It heals the torn flesh at once, but it seems to be putting off the broken bones until later. Then, I hear loud footsteps from the west side, the hallway that Lancer disappeared into. Someone's coming. She appears in the terrace and jumps down without hesitation. And she moans in pain at her landing. Wasn't she the one before who was like, don't do that, don't just jump down, dummy? She can't help herself. She follows her sudden arrival with a torrent of questions. It seems Lancer saved Tosaka as he promised, but Tosaka's energy takes the power out of me. Does she want to check on my safety, or is she angry about Archer's wound?
つくづく甘い。彼女がもう少し非道な人間なら、私もかつての自分になど戻らなかったもの。
No shit, so Rin had a part in this. Right? He must have remembered, like, he said he doesn't have much of his memories, but maybe he felt a connection with Rin because Shiro has a connection with Rin. He talks sarcastically, but his voice only contains warmth. After looking at Tosaka once, the knight in red steps back as if to exit the stage.
ともあれ、決着はついた。お前を認めてしまった以上、エミヤなどという英雄はここにはいられん。敗者は早々に立ち去るとしよ
う。Without saying goodbye to Tosaka, huh? His wound is deep and he has no master. He'll disappear here, and he'll return to the original place as a heroic spirit. Oh! It happens in an instant. It's a fatal attack that takes the opening in me, as I have relaxed after seeing Tosaka. Several swords are called forth. A rain of swords come down to pierce Emiyashiro's body, and... Whoa, what? I fall. I'm pushed back and fall on my butt. Did Archer... Wait, because there's two archers, right? There's Gilgamesh and him. Was that Gilgamesh who did that? And maybe me, my archer, jumped in front to take the blow? I'm pushed back about a meter. In front of me. Yep. I guess Archer is just destined to die in this castle, isn't he? My broken limbs cannot support my body, and I do not have the power to get back up. And so, I can only look up at myself that got skewered in front of me. Saber's scream cuts open the silence. She's looking at the second floor, on top of the crumbled stairs.
楽しませてもらったぞ。偽物同士。実にくだらない戦いだった。
貴様、アーチャー。
It can only be one archer, right?
10年ぶりだな、セイバー。お前とはもう少し早く顔合わせをする気であったが、予定が変わった。予想外の事故ばかり起きてな。俺の思惑とはずれてきてしまったのだ。
Servant Gilgamesh, the one to defeat Berserker, and the one who killed Iliasville. He turns aside Saber's glare and looks down at me and the skewered archer.
さて、理解したか？それが
Yeah, right, we're the fake archer.
というものだ。
There can't be two of them.
いかに形を似せ力を似せようが、所詮は作り物。本物の輝きには及ばない。
He raises his hand. It's as if he's ordering his soldiers.
偽物が作り上げた贋作など見るのも汚らわしい。クズめ。貴様らのうちには何一つ新作が存在せぬ。他人の真似事だけで出来上がった偽物は即ゴミになるがいい。
He shoots numerous noble phantasms. The unavoidable rain pours down. There are about 30 of them. I couldn't dodge or block them even if I was in perfect condition. Clouds of dust spring up. The shower of swords tears apart the already ruined hall. But even in the midst of the chaos, I see it. The red cloak flies. Still skewered, he runs to me and pushes me once again. I'm pushed away from the red figure. His eyes are telling me, "You defeat him." That as long as I defeated Archer, and as long as I want to be a superhero, I must defeat him. The clouds of dust fill my vision. The red cloak sinks inside the rubble, but I see it before he disappears. His eyes are filled with confidence. That servant is no match for us, Emiyashiro. Neither Saber nor Tosaka will be the one to defeat him. My own self is telling me that Emiyashiro is the natural enemy of that servant. My vision clears. Dust is in the air and the rubble's piled up high. There's nothing else. The knight in red disappeared underneath the rubble.
ほう、驚いたぞアーチャー。あの傷で他人を救う余裕があったとはな。
His sarcastic words contain scorn. The man smiles in satisfaction as he looks down at the hall filled with Archer's blood. Silence falls. Gilgamesh is the most powerful being here, and isn't that appropriate for the heroic spirit to have his last, even though he talks about the ideals of, like, not saving people, that he saved someone right at the end. Anyone that moves will follow Archer's fate. Even Saber is silent, wondering how best to attack the enemy. But...
この誰に断って私のアーチャーに手を出してんのよ。
With Archer's death, Tosaka has lost her composure. Light runs across space, pure destructive force, magical energy released from the jewel without any processing. He does not even dodge it. He isn't even
死
scratched.
に損ないを先にするつもりだったのだが、順序が変わったな、女。
He orders the swords behind him to carry out Tosaka's execution. The sword is released at high velocity. Saber runs with surpassing speed and protects her master.
セイバー。
リン、下がって。あの男は危険だ。手を出せば殺されます。
ほう、今のマスターはその小娘か。よかろう。ならば今の無礼は不問に付す。お前を失っては楽しみが減るからな。
Saber glares at the enemy while readying her invisible
な
sword.
ぜここにいるアーチャー。近江は前回の聖杯戦争で呼ばれたサーバント。そのあなたがなぜ今回も限界している。
なぜも何もあるまい。前回の戦いが終わった後、我は消えずにこの世にとどまっただけだが。
そんなバカな。サーバントは聖杯が消えた時点でこの世との接点をなくすはずだ。ならばあなたが10年もの間とどまっていられるはずがない。
そうでもないぞ。もとよりこの世との接点は聖杯ではなくよりしろとなったマスターだ。聖杯はあくまで道を通したに過ぎん。聖杯が消えた後も魔術師が魔力を提供し続ければこの世にはとどまれる。もっとも聖杯の助力なしでサーバントを維持できるマスターなどそうはいないがな。その点で言えば俺のよりしろは魔力不足ではあった。
ならばどちらにせよあなたがとどまれるはずがない。サーバントを持つことにマスターが耐えられないならあなたは召喚者ともども枯渇しているはずだ。
それもやりようであろう。魔術回路が少なければ知識で補うのが魔術師という輩だ。その点で言えば俺のマスターはなかなかに筋金の入った男だった。その点で言えば俺のマスターはなかなかに筋金の入った男だった。
Was. Then his master is gone now? No, his master is Shinji. The fact that he, the man who would not obey anyone, obeyed Shinji is proof of that.
ではあなたのマスターはライダーのマスターと
I
同
mean,
じ
his
ように
first master was Kyrie. And Kyrie is dead.
ああ、事故で補えなければ他人から奪うのは当然だろう。だが実を言えばそのような手間もいらなかったのだがな。俺は聖杯を浴びた唯一のサーバントだ。この時代における受肉など10年前に済ませている。
Saber stares at the man in astonishment. Saber hangs her head at the words, 10 years ago.
そう、お前のおかげだぞ、セイバー。あれが何であるか我は誰よりも熟知している。何しろその新欲をぶちまけられ中にあるものを見たのだからな。
では
ああ、聖杯の正体を理解したのだ。その時に決めた。あれは俺だけが扱うとな。
Saber. No, looking down at all of us, he declares something that is unbefitting for a servant.
聖杯をあなたが使うだと。
そうだ。マスターなどという寄生動物に分け与えてやる義理もあるまい。俺は俺の目的のために聖杯を使おう。その最大の障害であった召喚者も先ほど消えた。残ったものはよりしろにもならぬ魔術師もどきだけだ。俺の望みにはそのなり損ないこそがふさわしい。もっともお前の肉ならばあるいは完全な聖杯が出来上がるやもしれんが、さて。
The man looks at Tosaka. Tosaka must feel the danger as she grows pale and steps back. His red eyes are ominous. One would feel uncomfortable under the weight of that gaze. His eyes are so apparent that even Tosaka is frightened of him.
バカな。聖杯はマスターが得るものだ。我らサーバントでは得られないからこそマスターに協力するのだろう。
それこそがおかしな話だ。 聖杯に触れられるのはサーバントだけでありながら、聖杯を得られるのはマスターだけだというのか。
しかしそれは
全てはくだらぬざれ言だ。7人のマスターによる聖杯の奪い合い、最後の一人となったマスターのみが聖杯を得る儀式だと。そんなものはただの隠れ蓑に過ぎん。もとより聖杯の恒例など済んでいる。連中は毎回聖杯を用意してから7人のサーバン
It
トを
seems like
呼
the
ぶ。
masters are literally just there to keep the servants in the world with their magic to be able to have them fight.
わかるか騎士よ。連中が必要としたのは聖杯ではなく、その中に入るものだ。マスターなど元は我らを呼ぶためだけの回路に過ぎん。魔術師どもはな、聖杯を作りはしたが、その中身を用意できなかった。先ほども言っただろ。事故で補えないのなら、よそから奪ってくるのが奴らだと。聖杯を満たす最高純度の魔力、守護者ともいえる霊長最強の魂こそが奴らが求めたものだ。7人のサーバントとはな、もともと聖杯にくべられる生贄のことらしいぞ。
Saber looks up at the man in astonishment. Her eyes are desperately trying to deny his words. That it isn't possible. She's trying to deny it, saying that what she wished for, the Holy Grail, cannot be such a thing.
驚くことはあるまい。聖杯は魂という本人でなければ制御できぬ力を純粋な魔力に返すろ過器だ。ああ、確かにそれならば願いは叶おう。魔術師どもにとっては永遠に使い切れぬ魔力量だろうからな。故に生贄は多ければ多いほどよい。6人ものサーバントをくべればそれは万能と言えるだろう。聖杯が汲み取ったサーバントは5人。奴らが目指した万能の釜まではあと1人分で十分だ。
それではやはり聖杯はマスターにしか扱えない。聖杯が純粋な魔力の貯蔵庫だというのなら扱えるのは魔術師だけだ。そうだ。持ち主となるマスターさえ優れた術者ならきっと
あらゆる願いを叶えられるか。たわけ、人間風情にそのような奇跡は与えられん。どれほど強大な力を持とうと自滅するのが人間というものだ。だが安心しろセイバー、この聖杯は本物だ。きちんと7人分の英霊を組み込めば必ず原初に到達する。
原初？ちょっと待った。じゃあ聖杯ってまさか。
何者かは知らんが、最初にこのルールを敷いた者は間違いなく神域の天才だろうよ。まあしかし俺には関係のない話ではある。俺はそんなものに興味はない。あるのは聖杯の門としての能力だけだ。
聖杯が門だと。
10年前だセイバー。あと一歩で聖杯を手に入れるという時、俺は聖杯は政権によって両断され、こぼれ落ちた者は炎となって町を焼き払った。聖杯の真下にいた俺は当然その本流を一身に浴びたのだ。その時に聖杯の正体を知った。実にくだらぬが使い道はある。数ある兵器の中でもあれほど殺人に特化したものはあるまい。あれはあのままでいい。万能の釜になどする必要はない。
兵器、聖杯がサーバントを持って生み出すものが兵器だというのか。アーチャー。
We know with Gilgamesh's, he just wants all the treasures. So to him, like a weapon of like murder, well, weapons are meant to murder, but Like something like a holy grail, what greater treasure could there be?
もともと我らとて兵器だろう。あれはそれを突き詰めたものに過ぎん。聖杯とは地獄の門。一度開けば中からは56億もの呪いが溢れ出す。琴峰は言っていなかったか？聖杯の名はアンリ・マユ。その名の通り、すべての人間を食いつぶす。
Yeah, he
終わ
did
りの
mention
泥
that
だ。
last one, right? The whole thing about the mud that was attacking Shiro. Angra Manu? I don't know if he said that specific name though. I think that's the name of the devil in Zoroastrianism, a leader of evil that opposes God for many thousands of years. It is an embodiment of the evil in all human, and it is depicted as a reflected image of all humanity's goodwill. But why is the Holy Grail named after the ancient Persian
で
devil?
はあなたの目的は人間の
そう一層だ。俺は琴峰のように
Okay.
人間をめでよう
Just a
と
world
努め
that
る
he
気は
can
ない。
live in free
め
of
でるべき
humans.
は美しいものだけだ。この世界は楽しいがな、同様にどしがたい。凡白の雑種が生を謳歌するなど王に対する冒涜だ。それでは治める気にもなれん。
バカじゃないのあんた。何が王に対する冒涜よ。人間が一人もいなくなったらそれこそ王様の意味なんてないじゃない。
死に絶えるのならばそれでよい。自らの罪で消え去るのなら生きる価値などはあるまい。俺が欲しいものは雑種ではない。地獄の中ですら生き延びられる者にこそ支配される価値がある。その点で言えば前回のは落第だったな。あの程度の火で死に絶えるなど今の人間は弱すぎる。
I know he's like an all-powerful creature and everything, but it'd be funny if he talks about like only the strong survive. What tends to happen to kings a lot of the time? They usually get overthrown. That'd be kind of funny if like he created a world where only the strong survive and then they like usurp him and kill him off. That'd be very, very difficult to do, but that would be kind of funny. He grins. For the first time, he looks at me, who he said is a failure.
この世すべての悪とやらが何者であるかは知らん。だが都合が良いだろ。すべての人間に等しく落ちる死の戸が。人より生まれた人だけを殺す底なしの闇。
I mean, what better time for Shiro to be a superhero than to save someone who wants to wipe out all of humanity, right?
本来俺がすべき仕事を任せるにはふさわしい猟犬だ。
Gilgamesh raises his hand. Behind him are noble phantasms waiting for the king's order.
では10年前の続きといこう。あの時はくだらぬゴミが混ざったが、こたびはあのようなゴミはおらん。もっともそれ以上にたちが悪いクズが混ざっているようだが。
The swords are all pointed at me. Was he talking about like the person who got involved last time was Carrie, which is, you know, I'm just repeating the cycle here. I will my broken legs to stand, but they do not move. Damn, I can't even manage to block one of those. So why? Why did Archer leave behind that message? The swords disappear. The golden servant suddenly lowers his arm. After looking up at the ceiling in discomfort, he brushes away the dust on his shoulder.
すすで汚れる。
Oh my gosh, literally,
命拾いしたな。
I escaped death this
小僧。
time because he got a little bit of ash on him and he's just, ugh, I don't want to be dirtied. He's good at that. Shiro's very good at escaping death over and over and over again. The castle is burning. I don't know who set the fire, but it must be huge. Oh yeah, right. Well, we know who set the fire. The third floor is burning down and the second floor is caught as well. No, that's not the surprising thing. He really stopped the battle just because he was going to get dirty from the ashes.
逃げるのですか、アーチャー。
場所を変えるだけだセイバー。聖杯は俺の手にある。ことは迅速に済ますのが俺の方針だからな。早々に聖杯を作り、 地獄の穴を開けてやろ
His golden hair flutters. Gilgamesh walks to the terrace that isn't yet
う。
burning.
取り戻したければ早めにしろ。何しろ今回の聖杯は急増の欠陥品だ。急がなければ
But he's still giving us a
中身が
chance
全て
to
こぼれてし
potentially
まうぞ。
stop this from happening. It's like I think he says that he wants us to be over quickly, and yet he's still giving us a chance to be able to defeat him. I feel like for him, if it's too easy, it's no fun. His stifled laughter echoes through the room, and he leaves the burning castle like that. Sparks are dancing through the room, and the ceiling is tinted red. The gorgeous castle shows no traces of what it used to be. The castle without a master crumbles without trace, as if to follow the girl in white. Oh, Shinji. Will he actually make it out of this, or is Gilgamesh just gonna kill and be like, thanks, but I don't need you anymore? Mato Shinji's running through the forest with beast-like breath. He's actually running along a selected route, but his mentality is that of a wanderer. He's running away without aim, so the word wandering is more befitting.
くそあと少しっていうところでどいつもこいつも潰しやがって
He pushes the branches aside with one hand and runs while scattering wet dirt. Leaving a trail of blood behind him, Mato Shinji heads to the edge of the forest. He's not treated the wound he's received from Lancer. He does not feel his right arm anymore. The wound is inflamed and his arm won't move, as though dead. He must not be able to run with only one arm as he slips and leans against a tree. His dangling right arm is like a piece of trash. As soon as he realizes that a part of his body is a useless piece of trash, Mato Shinji starts laughing. The laughter comes out like a racking cough. It hurts. It must be because of the wound that his body is burning hot. In a daze, he imagines his wounded arm rotting away. After that, he imagines everyone around him rotting away. Not just one of their arms. He has one arm. All the other idiots should lose both of their arms. Yeah, like Gilgamesh, he definitely seems to have like a superiority complex. The difference is Gilgamesh can back it up. He can't stop laughing. With that decision made, the pain becomes bearable. He has a legitimate purpose now. The first thing he would do is collect every possible arm. There'll be no exceptions.
そりゃいいじゃあ一番
I kind of hope he survives so that we can punish him later. Like, I don't want him to just die off here, like, just quickly. That sounds horrible, that I'm just like, I want him to suffer, but God, he's just insufferable. The girl that did not become his. Since she's his favorite, he can't allow her to be superior to him.
待っててよ
Like, I want a final showdown between Shinji and Tosaka, and for her to get the final blow on him. I feel like she's earned it. Laughing, Mato Shinji raises his head. Like, this definitely feels like there's some unfinished business that is gonna, like, come back later, maybe. When did he appear? Oh, well, never mind, I might not get that. I feel like he's about to get killed off, especially because earlier Gilgamesh did say that his master was, like, speaking in past tense, and I was thinking, like, oh, he might be talking about Kyrie, because he was, like, an initial master, but, yeah. Because, yeah, he just took off for a while, didn't he? Like, we hadn't seen Gilgamesh for a while, so he was probably dealing with Shinji. When did he appear? His servant is standing right in front of him.
お前
He looks at his servant in surprise. The golden servant looks down at Mato Shinji as if looking at livestock.
傷を負ったのか。ひどいな。
Oh, he's about to suffer.
それではさぞかし
This is the
痛かろう
case. This is going to be two routes where Shinji was running away like a scared animal and then ran into a servant and got absolutely obliterated. And he says something that he does not mean. Mato Shinji's face contorts. Without realizing the true intention of his servant, he glares at the man before him.
痛かろうだと誰のせいだと思っているんだお前が間抜けだからランサーなんかにやられたんだぞ番犬役もできないくせに偉そうなことを言うな
With his head on fire, Mato Shinji insults his servant. The golden servant nods, saying, "This will do."
その傷はランサーにつけられたのか。ではあのマスターを逃がしたのは奴だったのだな。
ああ、そうだよ。お前がグズだから遠坂を逃がしちまったんだ。あんな死に損ないに取られるなんて思い出しただけで吐き気がする。
そうか、それは残念だ。
何落ち着き払ってんだよ。遠坂がいなけりゃ聖杯が手に入らないんだろ。さあ、お前のせいで全部台無しだ。分かってんのかよ。これからどうすれば。
安心しろ、予定に狂いはない。聖杯は作り出せる。
The servant's voice contains no emotion. Mato Shinji does not realize the red eyes aren't looking at him.
どうやって。いくら聖杯があってもその器がないとできないって琴峰も言ってたじゃないか。あのガキの心臓だけじゃ意味がない。あれは優れた魔術回路につなげないと聖杯にならないんだろ。
Mato Shinji walks up to his servant and scolds him for his stupidity. The golden servant nods and
だから問題ない。
I'm just waiting for it. Like he's gonna kill Shinji, right?
より代になるマスターならここにもう
Oh,
一
is it
人
gonna
い
be
るじゃん。
Shinji himself? I mean, he said the Holy Grail was already created, right? He said it was hastily put together. He thrusts his arm. Yep. A piercing sound. Mato Shinji never finds out what the sound is. But he feels something funny in his stomach. Looking down, he sees his servant's arm there. The fist is inside his body. There's neither pain nor blood. The servant's arm is in his body, like the absurd spiritual operation he saw before.
聖杯が欲しいのだろう。ならばくれてやろう。大事なものなら二度と手放すな。
ああああ。
His blood vessels expand, after feeling the sensation of billions of worms squirming through his body and trying to get out. He becomes something that is not Mato Shinji. Well, I mean, I feel like this might be fitting. He wanted the Holy Grail so much, now he is the Holy Grail. It convulses. Oh, the swollen object is literally a lump of meat. There is no shape to it. It's composed of exposed meat and blood vessels, quickly forming meat and quickly decaying meat. Unable to bear the pain of the repeating growth and decay and the sensation of something wriggling inside of him, he loses his sanity. After watching it, the servant lets him go as if nothing has happened.
醜いな。力ある魔術師ならば変貌することもないだろう。
Yeah, it's like when that happened with
仕方があるまい。
Ilya. She retained her form, but she's used to this. Like, she's trained. A chain comes down. Descending from the sky, heaven's chains bind the writhing mass of flesh. The balance of expansion and decay is about the same right now, but the Holy Grail should figure out its master soon enough. Expansion should overwhelm the decay by then. His Holy Grail should be completed in no time.
ゲテモノの方が味は良い。何よりお前ならばふさわしい泥を吐き出すだろう、シンジ。
The servant laughs. And beside him, the piece of meat repeats "help me" in a voice that is no longer human. It almost makes me feel bad for Shinji. Almost. Alright guys, that will do it. I apologize for this being a shorter episode, but in that time, in the short episode, we had Shiro, surprise, surprise, coming out on top. Archer admitting that that he lost and telling Shiro that he has to finish this. So he's like passing it on to him to like, you gotta finish this. And then Gilgamesh shows up. They're about to have a fight. Like, obviously Shiro was not in good state after that fight. He was just barely surviving. And then the castle set on fire. Gilgamesh didn't want to get himself dirty, so he's like, joke, surprise, you know, here's the truth about the Holy Grail. Also, I've already created the Holy Grail. He was going to use Tosaka as the vessel, but he's like, I actually don't need you. I've already created one. It turns out that he created it out of Shinji and turned him into like a gelatinous blob of massive, like, just dead meat. So that was certainly a way to go, an appropriate way to go for Shinji. He always ends up getting taken out while he's running and crying. So this is it. Like, I know I keep saying, like, how much longer could this possibly be? But, like, it's down to basically Saber and Gilgamesh are the last two standing. And, of course, you know that Shiro and Tosaka, they're a package deal. They're going to show up. They're all going to go for this final fight to stop Gilgamesh from unleashing the hell that is the Holy Grail, to stop him from having a world with no humans. So I imagine it's probably going to be a couple more episodes to wrap up this big epic fight, but I am so hyped. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I promise next week will be a longer one. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned next week for episode 16. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Emily Hornsby, Salieri, Zoran Ether, Amdere, Revealing Storm, Icognito, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Jared Fan, and Saturn Sins.